Hello, would you like to be in the, I guess you're gonna be in the video.
Reprint sets are great for a lot of reasons, especially when those reprinted cards are cards that are some of the best to ever be in the game. For players like myself, it's an excellent opportunity to get cards that you don't have playsets of yet for your decks. But there's definitely some cards that are left out that you probably want to snag. And since we've seen the overview of the OP08 meta and some of the introductions of the starter decks, there's a couple cards that you may want to get right now before they get too expensive, right, Morticia? We're going to go over those cards today, and we're going to talk about the ones that you should get. The first set of cards that we're going to talk about are basically the 7 Warlords of the Sea package, a popular archetype for blue decks, especially with the new starter decks releasing and Blue Doflamingo getting top 16 twice in the recent championships. It's obviously got a revamp in the archetype, and there are several cards that you probably just want to get now if you don't already. Now, I've talked about in previous videos, especially before OP07 released, how you should get your 3-drop Doflamingos, starter deck 4 cost Moria, so I'm not going to rehash those, but I do think in OP07 you should be grabbing things like Jinbei, the Boa Hancock in OP07, and the Edward Weevil. These are all cards that you can pretty much get for pretty cheap at your trades or local LGSs or TCGplayer.com, because Edward Weevil is a great example of this. Right over in the spring, you could have gotten this for like 20 cents. Now they're $1 per. Now this is a small kind of jump, but in essence 266% since it started back in the beginning of May. You could see it continue to climb based on the success that it continues to have in the East, so might as well snag it if you got a couple extra bucks. A card that you should have in your card going in the yellow decks is the Monkey Day Luffy from OP07 as well. Now you can currently get this card for $5, and I honestly think that this is going to be one of the lowest points that you can get this card. We know it's really good in black yellow Luffy, and also with Enel wanting to run this card, being what I would consider probably the 3rd best deck in the OP08 format, and black yellow Luffy and Enel are 2 really good decks right now if you're in the West. We even saw, if you've been on this channel for a while, the Vegapunk games. The Vegapunk was playing this card too. It's an SR that's just so good for so many yellow decks, right, that you definitely want to get a playset of this card, and I actually have a playset in my TCG player card right now. But speaking of the Vegapunk games, if you did watch those on the channel, and guess what, go check if you're subscribed on the channel, because that means that you're visiting here for the 2nd time at least over on this channel. A lot of you watch my videos are not subscribed, so make sure, if you want to see more great content, that you follow along in subscribing. I don't know where this is. Anyways, back to the important stuff. Also, taking a look at a couple different Enel decks, I did mention that Enel, probably what I would say is the 3rd best deck of the OP08 format. Shiroshi is a card that is so good for the half of the room that's playing Rob Lucci in that format. Even right now in the West in OP07, we see this Shiroshi played in Enel decks as a 2 of, and it's a card that's slowly increasing in price as well. It kind of had the dip, but now, ever since store championships have really been going on, it has just climbed up and up, almost double in value from $2.50 to a little over $4. I personally expect that number to keep going up, so you might want to get these, because the EBO1 SRs actually are like pretty decently expensive, like Cavendish, Brooke, Shiroshi starting to get up there. If you're considering playing Enel, you might as well grab the Enel SRs as well. Not played in every single OP08 Enel list, but I think a decent amount of them are playing this card. And I mean, it's a pretty good card. So being able to get 2 of these right now for a total of 60 cents, I mean, that's a pretty good deal in my opinion, especially if you can spare like a couple extra bucks. Now this one's for all you Uta enjoyers. I would still recommend Nami if you haven't gotten that already. Nami is a staple in Uta. We even see through the new starter decks playing a lot of different new cards, I might add, if you saw that video. If not, go check out that video that we made. But but still a mainstay in the deck. And even though it is not where it once was at $40, thank goodness, but the OP02 reprints since February really helping this card dip down, as well as the play, right, absolutely boomed after it won Japan Nationals and then has slowly kind of dipped off a little bit, especially because I don't know how many more reprints we're going to get of OP02. You might as well hold on to this, especially, and a lot of these decks that I'm talking about are like, man, these could be really cool if Red Purple Law gets hit on August 12th, right? Like Nami gets a boost, Doflamingo gets a boost, Anel probably gets a boost. It's just, I don't know, I'm kind of preparing you for the potential. I'm also gonna say from OP05 Rebecca. Now Rebecca, I actually don't think that Rebecca will get banned, simply because it's not played in Black Yellow Luffy, right? It's played in a bunch of different black decks and plenty of them, right? I mean, I'm thinking of the starter deck 14 Luffy, I'm thinking Rob Lucci, Gecko plays this, but not being in Black Yellow Luffy is what I think this card is going to kind of go away from. And especially with Red Purple Law dominating, like Rebecca just gets bottom decked, right? Like so easy. So it's like much more niche to play in decks. This card is absolutely bonkers. I think this effect is insane, and once again has taken a huge dip as of late, so might as well try to maximize on it if you don't have a playset already. I feel like if you've been paying attention on the channel, I should not really have to explain why you should get the OP07 Sanji SR. It's played in every purple deck, including the best one, Red Purple Law. Even if Red Purple Law gets hit, right, this still has a mainstay in so many different decks, especially with the boost of Purple Luffy. Purple Luffy with these starter decks is a pretty decent deck when it doesn't hit Red Purple Law. Now being able to cheat out characters through the 7-drop Luffy that came in that starter deck. This Sanji is pretty good. I really like this Sanji, just a really good 2K in general, and I mean, it's $5 right now. I remember on pre-releases, I sold mine for way higher than that. So you go get them if you don't have them. Now this one's kind of my sleeper pick, Pell. You may be wondering why the heck is Pell in this video. Being able to give a character a rush and then go into another character that KOs different characters, especially as red where you might be using some power minusing effects, is just actually a really good combo. Pell excels in this type of deck. If you're as excited as I am with the Sanji deck, make sure to go get your Pells. Also, I'm just going to say the alternate Pell is also pretty cheap. So if you like blinging out your decks, might want to go do it. Now here's another one for you that I'm going to tell you a little bit more about, not just outright buying this, the Three Brothers starter deck. Now if you're like me, you don't care for the promo pack that came in there, right? You just want the starter deck cards. Especially on TCG Player, you can get some decently cheap versions of the deck without the pack itself, right? Like no promo pack, just the deck and the deck box. You can get this for $20. Now, I mean, you have to pay a little bit of shipping, but it's a whole box, not a single card. But still, that's cheaper than just buying the deck outright if you're looking for the cheapest option. Now, whether you pay $30 without the pack or $37 with the pack, that's totally up to you. But I personally think that Black Yellow Luffy might be the best deck after the August 12th update. I think it's got a lot going for it as an engine that is just itself as a whole. It all really depends on what happens, I think, with the Gecko Moria. Now going in with some good old purple, I think Magellan. Magellan is a pretty good card as well, especially if Red Purple Law does get hit. This is played in the Purple Luffy decks once again that are coming around based on that starter deck that came out. And I mean, Magellan's just a great card. Like seriously, Dawn, like putting your opponent back 1 Dawn, and then if they KO it in any way, they go back 2 Dawn. So it effectively can put your opponent back 3 Dawn, and it's really only doesn't matter on like 10 Dawn turns, right? So like it's a pretty sneaky card, especially playing on curve. I'm also going to mention Polly, a really cheap SR in general that you can get under $1. Polly as well is another mainstay in these purple Luffy decks that are running around around in the East with the new starter decks, especially as something that can not only ramp but also KO different characters for cost or less, which is so important right now in the game with Red Purple Law, with Lucci running around, that I think it speaks to a lot that a Straw Hat Engine still plays this Water 7 Galila Company card. Also, I mean, this alternate art also $10 if you want it. Now, I'm gonna be honest, these next two cards are honestly the priciest of all the cards that are not just like a straight up product deck. So I've saved these for last, but I think they're still valuable to get. One is Brooke. Brooke has been on this upward trend as of late, as people have started to figure out that it's pretty good in Rob Lucci. Even though EB01, at least where I live, there are a bunch of places that have boxes of this. The difference between this and the Cavendish, though, from EB01 is that black is just a strong color heading into OP08. So this kind of feels like the Eustace Captain Kidd effect. I mean, these are more expensive than the 8 cost Gecko Morias. I'm not kidding. Like, this card right here is $15, and this card right here you can get for $8. This person's selling it for $6.50. And let me tell you, like, this right here, in my opinion, is one of the best cards in the game, the best black card in the game, and it's an SR just like Brooke. And I'm pretty sure EB01 has a bunch of less SR, so you're more likely to get a Brooke. How has this been going down? I don't know. This card's crazy. You want to play a black deck, you throw 4 of these in there. Literally does not have to be a 7 Warlords deck, does not have to be a Thriller Bark Pirates deck. If it's black, you just have this card. And I think, honestly, Brooke is starting to get a little bit of that treatment, especially with paired with that 4 cost Rebecca that we talked about earlier. And then, I mean, this card, man, I mean, this card just keeps going up and up and up. And if you don't have the 4 cost Sabos yet, man, if you ever want to play a black deck, you really just should. It's kind of crazy to me that this did not get reprinted in PBR01, and like the red Sabo from OP06 did, which, by the way, I don't think has ever been played. So like, yeah, I mean, this, unless this card somehow gets hit, which I mean, I don't think it will. I don't think it should. But unless it does, like, this is just gonna keep going up, man. Like, you really need to get the Sabos if you don't have them already. It's unfortunate that you're gonna have to spend a lot of money for these. But like, again, if you want to play a black deck, this is gonna be it. There's been no signs of reprints as of yet. And that's gonna be it. Thank you so much for watching. I super appreciate you checking out this video. Make sure, again, to subscribe for more if you enjoyed this. Got some content. This was a video idea actually provided by someone in chat when we were doing those PBR01 videos. So shout outs to you. Hopefully I put you on screen. But yeah, feel free to leave recommendations of other videos that you'd like to see on this channel. I like to hear your guys' opinion, what you guys want to see. It could be collecting, it could be playing. I don't know. I mean, I'm down for whatever. I literally just did a skit in the other video the other day, like calling out Cardi Kaizoku for like literally no reason. But anyways, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.